Okay, we're live. Yes. Okay. Welcome everybody. At this time, we'll call to order the meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education, Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. Let the record reflect all board members are present either in person or virtually. Executive session, I will read. All right, I'll read into the record our motion for executive session, which already took place. The chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of reviewing semifinalist candidates for superintendent of schools, reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, and school attorney, employment history of pedagogical employee 03162021A, reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, and school attorney, employment history of pedagogical employee 03162021B, reviewing with acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent for human resources, and school attorney, employment history of non-pedagogical employee number 13162021C, reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent for human resources, and school attorney, employment history of non-pedagogical employee number 03162021D, reviewing with acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent for human resources, and school attorney, employment history of non-pedagogical employee number 03162021E, reviewing with acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, and school attorney, contract negotiations with RAM bargaining unit, reviewing with acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, assistant superintendent of business, and school attorney, potential litigation involving a particular pedagogical employee, and to discuss the matter of Douglas Adams for Board of Education of the Suffern Central. Okay, so we're already called to order, so let's rise to the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, student report.
Hi, everyone. So for today, we have a musical update. The Suffern High School Musical Department is pleased to be presenting Beauty and the Beast. The performance will be in a video format this year, and with most of the cast and pit orchestra recorded remotely and the main characters on stage and obviously appropriately masked. We can't wait to see the final product. March is also Youth Art Month. The National Art Honor Society has been showcasing student work all month on social media. They are also sharing artwork for students of all ages to complete at home. Check out their Google Classroom if interested in seeing the wonderful artwork. Additionally, on Monday, March 22nd, Stephen Hill, a former Suffern student, will be speaking with the freshman class about his journey through addiction and recovery. And finally, spring break starts Monday, March 29th, and that's all we have for you today.
All right, just you today?
Thank you, Sophia.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, 1.08 minutes of the regular meeting of March 2nd, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. McKenzie, there's a second?
Second.
Mr. Frazier? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? Any abstentions? All right, 1.09, acting superintendent comments.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have a few comments tonight. My first is about this year's school budget vote, which is scheduled for Tuesday, May 18th. That's the school budget and board election vote. It was brought to my attention today that day, Tuesday, May 18th, is the holiday of Shavuot, which presents a problem for a large portion of our community in terms of voting that day. It was brought to my attention that some other districts have put into the state to reschedule their budget votes for May 11th. And I wanted to let our community know that we will be looking into the details of that tomorrow. There are a lot of working backwards from the date of the budget, there are a lot of things we need to do in a certain order with a certain number of days notice. So tomorrow we're going to work through all the details of that and determine what we can do to accommodate our support our community for whom voting on the 18th will be problematic. And so we will have information forthcoming really likely by the end of the week to determine if our budget vote will stay on the 18th or if we'll move it to the 11th to make that accommodation. Over the weekend, I sent a survey out asking parents to respond to some questions about increasing in-person learning opportunities. If you haven't seen that survey, it arrived in your email right around noon on Saturday. I know that's not really a hot time for checking your email, so it might have gotten buried, so take a look. It came out Saturday at noon. For parents, there are also links there for students to fill out the student survey, so if you could forward that to your students, your children, that would be great. I'm also excited to talk about our upcoming professional development opportunities this week. On Thursday, we have an extended day, and on Friday, we have a superintendent's conference day. So Friday is not a student day of school, it's a day for teacher learning. I'm very excited about this sort of day and a half. Sue Perio, our Director of Instruction, has worked very closely with our CRT committee. CRT stands for Culturally Responsive Teaching, which is a way of teaching that takes into account our students' culture and helps us to do better as teachers in supporting our students' learning. This was something identified by many in our community during our strategic planning focus groups, and we are really looking forward to starting this work together. We have some, teachers who are well, very familiar with this, with culturally responsive teaching. We have other folks that are new to it, but our teams have worked really hard to put together what I expect will be a very positive, very focused time on professional development that's really aimed to support our students. That's the goal, is we want to make sure we're supporting our students in every way that we can. And we'll be following up that event for professional development with my March Suffern streams, which will be on Monday night at 7 o'clock, which will follow up on the concepts around culturally responsive teaching. We'll have some teachers who participated in the professional development, some administrators, some former students, and some current students to talk about, what it is and how it's going to help us support all of our Suffern students. And that's it for now.
All right, great, thank you. Before we get to public participation, the board is aware we do need to walk on two resolutions that are time sensitive, and I think it's only appropriate to add them as action items prior to the public participation about the action item. So what we're going to do is make a motion. There are two different resolutions that we're going to add. We're going to add them as action items 2.17 and 2.18. So I'm gonna make a motion, and I'm gonna read the first one, and then I'll ask for a motion in a second. This would be for 2.17. Be it resolved that the board hereby suspends employee number 03162021A for a period of 18 months without pay in accordance with the hearing officer's decision referenced as an award on remand dated March 10, 2021 in SED case number 34728. So do I have a motion to add this item?
Moved.
Moved.
Okay. Mr. McKenzie, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shapiro. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? Okay. Any abstentions? And just to clarify, this is not a vote on the action item, this is just a vote to put it on the agenda. For the second, this would be for action item 2.18. The resolution would read, be it resolved that the board hereby authorizes its school attorney, Shaw, Carlson, Maine, Lambert, LLP, to appeal to Rockland County Supreme Court the determination of the hearing officer in SED case number 34728, referenced as an award on remand dated March 10th, 2021, to modify the penalty from an 18-month suspension without pay to the discipline of termination from employment. Do I have a motion to add this item?
Moved.
Moved.
Mr. McKenzie, second?
Second.
Mr. Frazier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay. So we have now updated our action items. We've added 2 items at the end, and we'll address them when we get to action items. So that being said, 1.10 public participation. This is public participation on action items only. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Matt, can I ask a question? Both
Yeah.
of those votes were 7-0, am I correct? On 2.17?
Correct.
Okay, very
To
good.
add, yeah, to add them, we're both 7-0. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Action items. So we've got action items 2.01 through 2.08. Are there any items that anyone wishes to pull at this time? None? So we can go forward then with consent agenda.
Excuse me, Matt.
Yes,
I would like to pull 2.18.
2.18. We'll need to pull 2.18. Okay. Are there any other items that anyone wishes to pull aside from a consent agenda? Okay. So then, we'll call for a consent agenda for action items 2.01 through 2.17. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. McKenzie, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Frazier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, 2.18, this is the second resolution that we just added. 2.18, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. Shapiro. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Nick Collins. Discussion.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to call to the board's attention this issue here. This incident has been investigated at the building level. It's been investigated by administration. We had a Title IX. We had a 1030 hearing. We brought it forward to a civil service hearing. The hearing officer rendered a decision. We won that award, yet we weren't happy with that award, and we appealed to the state Supreme Court. I went before Judge Zugabe in the state court, who sent the decision back to be reviewed by the same hearing officer it went back to. Another decision was made. The decision apparently is not the decision that the board is looking for. However, I truly feel that we are throwing ridiculous amounts of money on legal decisions that I don't think we're going to get. So I have a tough time supporting going forward with this appeal process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I have something I'd like to say. I think that we're doing the right thing here by appealing this. We appealed it the first time, and because we thought that what the hearing officer rendered as a judgment in terms of punishment was insufficient, and we appealed it and we were correct. And we think that still by a majority that that punishment still isn't correct. And we expect to prevail, and that's why we're spending the money on this. So more than anything, I just want to say that I don't think that you can put a price tag on the safety of children. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKenzie, any other comments? Mr. Karen?
I'd really like to agree with Angus on this. The safety of the students is the most paramount issue possible. Regardless of the financial cost of appealing to the judge or whatever, it is worth our time and our finances to make sure that this will never happen again and we won't have to put up with it later on.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. Any other comments or discussion? Okay. Okay. So 2.18. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Nay.
Donnelly. Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you all very much. Okay. Information items 3.01. This will be a transportation update. Who am I looking at? Mr. Schleifer, am I looking at you? Yes, you are. Thank you very much. All right. In just a moment, I'll get my screen.
Use the video first? The video first?
Yes, do the video first, sorry.
You want to do an intro about it or just play? Just play. Thanks.
Hi everyone. We want to thank our support staff, custodians, buildings and ground, our food service workers. There's been so many changes here in this year. You've adjusted, done a great job, and we're really appreciative to have you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just really want to thank Buildings and Grounds, our food service committees, our custodial staff. This year would not have been as successful as it has been without your support, without your dedication and hard work. So thank you so much from the bottom of our heart at Cherry Lane, from our teachers and staff. Thank you guys.
Department has been such a strong supporter of Team Expo and our efforts. This year, it's very clear that they have gone above and beyond to make sure that our students are healthy, fed, taken care of in the grounds. We're taking care of during snowstorms and all the cleaning procedures. So thank you.
I would like to thank our Building and Grounds and Facilities Department for a wonderful job that they've been doing. Between our lunch monitors, our custodians, our maintenance crew, keeping our buildings safe, clean. The cleaning never stops here, so I can't thank you enough.
I'm so thankful that my daughter is back in school. The school is taking every precaution. They do cleaning all the time. The teachers are wonderful. Lunch and breakfast every day. I'm so thankful that my daughter has the opportunity to be in school this year like she should be.
We provided meals for all students, age 18 and under in our district. We were cooking meals from scratch. Everything was portioned out, packaged, and shipped out and delivered via buses. We are continuing to offer meals for the students in the district, but we also offer pickup services, take-homes, and on extended breaks we will also have, again, resume the meal delivery via bus. But real heroes in this district are lunch ladies of Suffern Central, and they are the ones that get all the praise and gratitude for what they've done for the students and families of this district.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm the principal of Viola Elementary, and I couldn't be happier with the support from our Buildings and Grounds team and our custodial staff here at Viola. We would never have been able to do all that we've been able to do to stay within the safety guidelines and be able to get as many students back for a great learning experience this year, because we have been able to fit more students in because of all of the work that our Buildings and Grounds team has done for us.
Thanks to our facilities, buildings and grounds, and kitchen staff, the year has been running smoothly. These individuals are hardworking, they're dedicated, they care about the safety of faculty, staff, and importantly, the students. Thank you to all of them, all of their hard work and dedication to our district. We could not do this without you.
I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to the district and to our teachers for keeping our kids in school in a safe environment. We're blessed enough to have meals provided for breakfast and lunch. My daughter is loving first grade. She doesn't even know the difference in the pandemic. So thank you to Arthur Connor and the rest of the district for a wonderful school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, I'd just like to say thank you very much to Jenny Rumblestein, our communication specialist, for putting that video together. We thought it was very appropriate to say a big thank you to our facility staff. Thank you, Mr. Thomas and my left, and our kitchen staff for all the hard work they do for our education community here at Suffern Central School to keep our schools open and safe. Thank you very, very much. That said, we're going to now go into a presentation by Marina Gessner and Everett Sullivan on transportation. We'd like to give our community an update on what's been happening in transportation. So we're going to get a little bit of an education from these two. Give me just 1 second and I'll bring it up.
Well, as he's bringing that up, I guess I can say hello and just say thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to come and talk to you a little bit about what we do day to day in Suffern Central Transportation Office. As you know, this year's been a challenging year for everybody in the district. So we had our own challenges and we thought we would share them with you, and also some of the things we're doing trying to move ahead in a better direction. So I'm Rena Gessner. I kind of supervise transportation. I've been here for a few years, about 13. And I have Deb Sullivan, who's now helping me in the transportation office. So Deb is going to talk about our first of 2 slides. It'll be a brief presentation, but she's going to talk to you about some of the efforts we're doing to make things move in the right direction.
Thank you, Rena. Thank you, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about the continued efforts by Chestnut Ridge Transportation to bring more drivers into the fold, as well as the combining of bus routes. Chestnut Ridge has launched an aggressive hiring campaign, including advertising for positions and having a presence at job fairs. They've also offered sign-on bonuses and referral bonuses to entice drivers to fill their ranks. Chestnut Ridge is working with inactive school bus drivers for rehire with some success now that the COVID vaccine has become more available. Finally, in an effort to assist in getting students to school in a timely manner, Chestnut Ridge has combined several bus routes based upon lower ridership, and combining routes has in turn helped to reduce the number of required bus drivers. Thank you.
So that's what we're doing to be moving in the right direction of, kind of what we faced this year. So if you look at the very bottom of this slide, you'll see the drivers that refused to work or they resigned due to COVID. So this is something that our contractor Chestnut Ridge faced in September when we were coming back to school. So this has been a struggle throughout, and still continues to be a bit of a struggle. But initially it was difficult. Not only with that, but on average, they would have up to 6 drivers out on quarantine in a given week. Luckily now, those requirements, now students, as long as they're 6 feet away from the driver, they don't always have to be quarantined, and most of our drivers have been vaccinated, if I'm allowed to say that. I'm not sure with those laws, But anyway, so that's a good thing for us also. That, we don't always have to have drivers go out because of an exposure, some child's exposed on the bus or student. So another interesting piece of information that we asked for, actually, in January, we asked the bus company, said, tell us, where were we last year versus this year? And last year, we actually had 94 licensed school bus drivers working for us through Chestnut Ridge. This January, we were at 71 drivers. So that's 23 drivers down in January. So what Chestnut Ridge does a lot is they have a lot of other staff besides school bus drivers that have their CDLs and they're allowed to drive the children. So we have safety officers, people with the office, the mechanics, even the company owner, John Core, drives one of our buses for Viola Elementary every day. So they're doing everything that they can, and they've worked so hard to try and help get our students to school each and every day. So we appreciate their efforts, and we just wanted to give you a glimpse of the challenges that they're facing. And like Deb said, they are having some drivers, now that the vaccines are available, they are having some drivers, coming back to work full-time.
Rena, thank you so much. And looking at this slide, it looks like they have approximately 25% of their drivers short. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, it's about 25%.
And that was almost the whole school year so far?
That would be right, correct.
Wow. That's an interesting statistic from there. And I certainly, obviously we use them, they do our transportation for both public and non-public, school. So I can just imagine how difficult it must be on a daily basis to fill a 25% gap in drivers every day.
And we had, I believe basically from September to January, nobody was putting in applications. They were advertising, they were doing everything they could do, but there was just no interest.
Due to COVID, no doubt.
Due to COVID, yeah. Right. You can't blame them.
I think these are some very important statistics, not only for our Board of Education, but for our community here in Suffern to see and hear as well. If any board members have any questions for either Rena or Deb on this, or comments?
I would just like to comment and say thank you. It's an eye-opening statistical piece of data that no one took into consideration. We all would probably sit back and say, what's going on with these bus drivers? But now that you brought it to everyone's attention, it makes sense. I'm sure it's going to get better, and thank you for bringing it to us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And Eric, I'm going to stop sharing now, and with permission, we'll now go into the next presentation. Would that be okay?
Yep. Yeah, so we're going to, are you presenting again?
I will be, yes, okay. Just momentarily.
All right. So we're going to move the information on 3.02, which is going to be a facilities update. But I'm going to stay over here.
Just 1 second to run. Here we go. Good evening, everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'd like to introduce Mr. John Palma, our Director of Facilities here at Suffern Central. And he's going to be giving us an update on capital project timelines for the Board of Education and the community. So to bring a little bit of clarity on how long projects take from start to finish and where we are on a few of our projects. So John, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you. And welcome back, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Schlick. I appreciate it. Hello, Board of Ed. Happy to be back. Great to see everybody. Like Mr. Schlick has said, my name is John Palma. I am the Director of Facilities for the Suffern Central School District. And just want to kind of give a brief synopsis of basically how a capital project takes place and the timeline to give the best guesstimate on how long something takes from start to finish. I mean, as we all know, we want something done at our houses and call the contractor and they come out and, they're there in a day, hopefully, or maybe a week, and then they do the job and okay, everything's great, paid, they're out the door. In the school setting, it's just a little different. And when I say a little different, I mean a lot. It's very complex in nature. So, looking at the timelines as far as capital projects are concerned, the first thing we want to talk about is architectural design and the financing. We usually use our building condition surveys, we use our preventative maintenance reports, we do visuals, we walk around the buildings, we make sure there are things that need to be put up as capital projects, and then we look to put those on the proposition, which then would be voted on in May and hopefully passed, and then we can move forward. And that, from start to finish on design with engaging architects and drawings, could take up to 6 months, depending upon the complexity of the project. So the next thing that you want to do is, after those plans and specs are drawn up, you want to take some time to review them. When I say review them, we want to do an in-house review of those. Reason being is the last thing that you want to do is have pieces that are missing, which then come back as change orders to the district, which then would increase the costs of those jobs. So it's very important that the district work with the architects to then pinpoint any possible pieces that might not have been addressed, that should have been addressed in those plans. From that point, it goes to the SED facilities planning project review status, which, by the way, is where our LED project is right now. There are two different types of reviews that happen at SED. One's architectural review and one's an engineering review, depending upon the job, whether it's civil work or whether it's mechanical work. That's the type of review that it receives. Now, once they go through their review, there's times that the facilities SPD plan maybe turns around and they want to make some changes, some amendments to those plans, which then get sent back to the architects, which then have to be redesigned and then sent back up to Albany once again for another review. Luckily, we've had very, very little times or instances when that has happened, and hopefully that'll still stay true. So after that's all done, then all of a sudden you get this thing called your building permit. And hooray, we're ready to go. But not quite yet. The next thing we got to do is do our bidding process and procurements. We got the procedures. We got to advertise the bid. We have to pick the dates for those bid openings. We're giving certain timelines for those bidders to pre-bid walkthrough, to walk the jobs. We've got to make sure their insurances are intact. They have to make sure that they're the lowest responsible bidder, and which means after they receive the bids and you open all the bids, you want to make sure that the lowest responsible bidder has all their paperwork in order. That could take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks alone. Once you got that point is once that piece of the prize is done, now you're going to move on to your pre-construction meeting. Now you've awarded it to a contractor, we're ready to go to some degree or another. Now you have to have a pre-construction meeting, you have to stage the materials, you need to schedule our values, you need a project schedule of the trades, you need to communicate with every party that will be impacted by this work that's going to be taking place within the district. So if you look at it from start to finish, when I say start to finish, I mean just to get the project going, it's a very good 18 to 24 months on this stuff. And whether the job is $10,000 or whether the job is $50 million, it's all done the same way. That's about it. Appreciate it.
All right, John, thank you very much for that. I hope that helped everyone. It was very educational. And I would just ask the board if you have any questions or comments at this time, please go ahead. Thank you.
So John,
welcome back.
Thank you so much.
It's good to hear.
John, also welcome back, but just a quick question. Obviously, you know, I've been pushing for the LED lighting and so forth. So basically what you're saying is that it was approved by the community in the budget last year, and it's still up at the Albany at this point? Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any idea in terms of a timeline when you could actually replace the light system now and put in the LED?
That's a good question, Mr. Barnes. Actually, I'm looking at the mass replacement being done over this summer. Now I want to remind everyone that in the process, when we have normal fluorescent lights with the old ballasts that are already installed in the district, we then change them out with LED lighting.
Right.
It's worth it to us, cost-wise as well as labor-wise, to do that. So we've been pretty fortunate enough that it's not that we haven't started the major project, it's that we've been doing small pieces of it until we can get the major portion of it underway. And we want to do that so that we can get our building aid on that project as well. So in essence, we've been saving as we've been moving along.
Can you purchase basically the majority of the LED lighting materials now?
You have to pay, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, go ahead.
No, can you basically purchase the LED lighting materials? So even if you don't have the approval at this point, knowing that you're going into LED lighting, can you purchase now early?
If you purchase early without the building permit and the approval from the commissioner, you will not receive any aid on those fixtures. However, the fixtures are readily available. So once we receive the commissioner's approval, we can then go ahead with the purchasing of those fixtures. The nice part about that is we actually get rebates on those fixtures that we purchase.
Right. And that will begin when?
We've been actually doing it in small phases along the way. I'm hoping for the mass majority of those fixture replacements to be done over the summer.
Okay. And for my next question, a little bit moving on, you obviously know that I'm interested in promoting solar for the district to save, money and so forth. So my question would be, looking ahead, would it be wise for the district now to put into the budget this coming year for solar panels in the next 18 months or 2 years in order to do this process again?
It's a very good question too, Mr. Carnes. I believe that we are now in a very good advantage with possibly the new administration to receive better aid through either NYSERDA, other grants that are out there, which would make it even better and more feasible for the district to move forward with solar panels. I wouldn't go this year to start implementing that first. Reason being is we want to know where our base kilowatt is after we replace the LED lighting. We need to see what our power consumption is. Once we identify the power consumption, we can then identify the footprint, or lack of a better word, real estate needed in order to purchase and procure those solar panels and the amount of wattage needed to basically make the gains and the savings that we're looking for the district.
Okay, and then just another question on, for example, the solar panels used outside for the street lights on school property. Can you do that now, or is that also a process that would take 18 to 24 months?
Well, if you're going to do a solar project, you're going to do it all as one, okay? Right now, we're doing the LED fixtures outside. That's what's going to be changed first, because we need to see what kind of power consumption is going to be used. There's going to be a majority of the savings is going to be from LED lighting outside.
Yeah, and just for the community to realize that when the LED lighting goes in, there's a savings of approximately 30%, I believe.
That's correct.
In terms of utilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's important that we move on the LED lighting and the solar panels to really save some money for the district in that area, whereas other costs will probably be going up.
And just a reminder, anything that we do with improvements over $10,000 requires that we get a building permit from SED and have it approved by the State Education Department.
Correct.
John, it's Angus McKenzie. Just an aside, it's not really a question, but something I noticed today. I was over at the Village of Montebello office voting, and they have in their parking lot solar panels, but the way they did it was interesting. They put it on the grass islands between parking spots. So it's serving as, obviously a solar panel, but it's also like if it's raining, the kids could, or teachers coming from the parking lot from our school, say, would be able to like walk underneath it and stay dry. I just thought it was like an interesting way of using the solar, panels as more than just what they're intended for.
That's excellent, Mr. McKenzie, and that is true. And the nice part about it is with our procedure in switching over to LED, with reducing the kilowatts that we need in order to supply the power to the building, we can then reduce the footprint or the real estate needed for solar panels. So this way, it gives us more of a variety of locations where we can install these panels. And in certain measures like that, where it can be carport measures, ground measures, all of those things.
Right.
It's very, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good thing for the school district to reduce those bills, but also we want to try to keep them off the roof too if we can, so it doesn't mess that up.
Sure.
So
sure.
Just a thought of maybe something we could do. But thanks and welcome back, buddy.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
As a point of information, the Paramus Mall already has that where the solar panels are above the parking lot. So in the wintertime, you can park below and walk into the building without getting snow or rain, on you at this point.
Oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah,
great.
Right now they have solar panel shingles, and there's a company in Czechoslovakia that's actually developing solar panels for driveways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that on my driveway. I really would.
I mean, you see an array of materials now being manufactured that do provide that solar power, and it is exciting, and I'm very glad that it's being promoted, and it's in alignment with sustainability.
I think everything that you've been discussing is really great. I mean, aside from the presentations and everything else, but the conversation about the LED lights and solar panel, what it means for the district, not today, but maybe a year from now, whenever that is. I mean, I think we're all really moving in a really, really positive direction. And
I definitely agree.
And
yes,
and my thanks again to all of you folks in facilities who are really, doing the dirty work here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Anything else anybody wants to add, or any other questions? Steve, do you have something you want to say?
I would just like to finish up by saying, thank you to Janet out there in food service, both Deb and Rena and John. Thank you for all of you do for our district. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate having you on staff. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Where are we? We have this going ahead. 5.01 board member comments.
Yes.
Mr. Karen?
Yes, I'm delighted to say I got a call today from Linda Feger, the manager of strategic partnership at Orange and Rockland Utilities, and they have accepted and they will give a grant of another $5,000 to the robotics program of Suffern. I'd really like to call out and appreciate Yael Holland and also Allison Carden for doing the hard work of preparing the grant. That $5,000 will then be used by the robotics team to build their robots, to get the materials, and hopefully and continually to make that one of the best programs, one of the many best programs that Suffern Central has. Okay, so really, thank you to Orange and Rockland. This is their third grant to the robotics program in the last 3 years. So we appreciate it. And as I told them today, we'll be back next year. So for a fourth grant. So thank you to Orange and Rockland.
Thank you. Mr. President?
Yes, I would just like to take a moment to piggyback off of the video and thank the facilities team, the lunchroom ladies, buildings and grounds, as well as the teachers, principals, and staff for all they've been doing in this pandemic to keep this district moving forward. So, thank you to everyone and welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Other comments? Mr. Shapiro?
Yes, I'd like to welcome John back. It's great to see you, though I really didn't see you, but I heard you, so I know you're back.
Swing that camera around.
Yeah, I'm actually here. You know what? You do this.
I know, and I wish I was there, but oh, there you are, John. Great to see you, John. By the way, I have my personal solar panel. It's right here. And it does give me as much energy as I can muster. By the way, Don, that's great news. Really, Orange and Rockland, they're extremely generous with the money that we've all paid them over the years, and I'm glad to see that we're getting some of it back, and it's going into the school. Building and grounds, thank you for everything that you've done. This was not an easy winter, but besides the winter, it's all of the cleaning that you do. It is really incredible. So much that has to be cleaned, not only on a daily basis, but obviously on the Wednesdays that we do have, everything that you do. So really kudos to them, to all of the people who are involved with the free lunches, and it's just amazing. And this is school. We are here to help, not only to educate, but also to assist and to really give to everyone in the community, and to make life easier, and especially during this this COVID time, which is hopefully coming to a slow, but coming to an end. And now I have a plug, and the plug is for not for solar panels, but the plug is for which we hope is going to be May 11th, and that's for poll workers. We need a lot of poll workers, and I know that last year might have been tough. It happened in the spring, and we had this thing going on, COVID-19 and the coronavirus. Things have, I think, gotten better, but it's really important that anyone who has been a poll worker in the past, please make sure that whatever paperwork that you have to have is that you still have, and it's up to date. And if you have any questions, please get in touch with Robert Romanowski. He's at the district office. And if you've never been a poll worker and you're interested in being one, you can go to the website, which is voterockland.com. voterockland.com to get some information. Again, you can get in touch with Robert. He's at the district office. You can send him an email, or you can call the district office, and I'm sure they'll get in touch with him, and you can speak with him directly. There are training sessions if you've never been a poll worker before. Some have already taken place in March, but there were some in April, and also some prior to the election, and we're hoping it's on the 11th. So there are some days there too, in terms of training. So please, the more people we have 5 sites within the school district. Please make sure that we are fully personed. I don't want to say manned. We are fully personed at all of the polling sites, and that we make sure that anyone who is eligible to vote will be voting, and everything will run smoothly. So that's my plug. Besides the fact that let's get out and vote. All the things that we should be doing. That's a privilege that we have, and we should take advantage of it. And that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Mackenzie,
I just wanted to say thank you to the folks that presented tonight, and to the facilities department, the great job that you guys are doing. Fabulous, and welcome back, John, and Jimmy Smith is back also. I'm glad to see you both are back on your feet, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right, then we'll close this portion of the meeting. Move to public participation. This is public participation on any district-related matters. I don't see anybody in person. Heather, you have
I have three.
Three.
So the first one is from the teaching staff at Montebello Elementary. We are writing in support of the district's remote Wednesdays. The current 2-hour delay schedule, coupled with remote afternoons, has allowed us to meet the academic and social emotional needs of both remote and in-person learners. The past year has required incredible flexibility and sacrifice on the part of both educators and families. We feel that we have consistently risen to the challenge of learning new ways to teach and engage our students under extremely difficult circumstances. In providing us with a 2-hour delay schedule on remote Wednesdays, the district has demonstrated its recognition of the fact that teaching to both remote and in-person learners presents unique challenges that require additional planning, professional development, collaboration, and instructional modalities. While we are delighted to have a large number of students back in person 4 days a week, the fact remains that a significant number of students remain fully or partially remote. Therefore, it is imperative that we maintain the current Wednesday schedule. Eliminating this day will negatively impact the experience of both remote and in-person learners. Specifically, this time is used to work one-on-one or in small groups to remediate some of the skills that students have lost or are behind in as a result of remote learning and the challenges faced last spring without the restrictions of social distancing and mask wearing. Provide our remote students with a level of attention that is not possible while teaching in-person and remote students simultaneously. Teach young learners the critical skills required for remote learning. Our in-person days are already filled with the required core curriculum. Remote Wednesdays give us time to teach and review these skills. Adapt an in-person work for remote students and create and upload assignments to Google Classroom, Seesaw, and other learning platforms. Communicate with families, provide support for families who are struggling with remote learning. Educate caregivers on how to utilize instructional platforms and provide strategies for supporting student learning at home. Create packages of materials, resources, and books for families of remote and quarantining students to pick up, and in some cases, deliver these materials to families who are unable to pick them up in person. Allow instrumental music teachers to have virtual ensembles at a time when all students can play out loud regardless of their environment. This is the only way to do an ensemble virtually that is fair and equitable for all students. Engage in collaborative discussions and professional development related to adapting curriculum, instructional strategies, and resources for hybrid instruction, social, emotional learning, and student growth amidst pandemic learning conditions. Conduct virtual assessments with our fully remote students, such as DRAs, which are time-consuming and not easily done in a classroom with in-person students. Utilize teaching methods that are not possible in person due to safety protocols, singing small group work, etc. Maintain a cohesive classroom community that includes remote and in-person learners, and to equitably integrate our remote learners in a way that is difficult to do in the classroom. Although we are fortunate to have one-on-one devices in this district, there are numerous challenges in having all in-person students in a Google Meet with their remote peers. Auditory feedback, missing devices, lack of charger, lack of headsets with mics, frequent need to tech assistance, etc. The sense of community is crucial for our students' engagement and social and emotional well-being. We've gone above and beyond to provide flexible, effective, and equitable instruction for all the students during these extraordinary times. We ask that you respect the professional judgment of those who are in the trenches and continue the current remote Wednesday schedule. And
sorry, was that still?
No.
Okay,
that's the end of the first one.
Could you say again who that was from?
Montebello teaching staff.
Okay, thank you.
This is from Andrew Gibson. He's a 4th grade teacher at Cherry Lane. In getting off the phone with the credit union, I am disappointed by the district's lackadaisical approach to yet another breach of employee data. The Palisades Credit Union representative I spoke with shared that they had no idea what information was compromised because the district only informed them that sensitive information had been shared. Sensitive information could be anything, my name, address, telephone number. According to this representative, the district did not inform the credit union that it was account numbers that had been shared. I am left wondering why. I trust the district to keep my personal information safe. I trust that the district has in place safeguards to prevent my personal information from being shared publicly. I really don't understand how this even happens. What if the district accidentally email bank account numbers to other employees? For what purpose is a bank account number even attached to an email? These are questions I feel deserve an answer. I am appreciative of the district's offering LifeLock coverage for 1 year. When looking over the LifeLock options, I was surprised that the district would only offer basic coverage. This is a mistake you made. It is not something that I brought upon myself. You've exposed me to possible fraud and identity theft, and being apologetic and offering me basic coverage is a bit insulting. This is a failure on the district's part and quite unbelievable because it isn't the first time. Following the district's breach of social security numbers, one would assume that safeguards had been put in place to prevent such an incident from ever happening again. It is mind-numbing to realize that no such action was taken. I think a second disclosure of sensitive information warrants a hard look at how the Suffern Central School District operates and whether or not there is a risk of future breaches. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And this is from Kim Kavanaugh, who's a teacher in the district. I received an email on Thursday, March 4th at 4:36 p.m., more than an hour after my official school day ended. The acting superintendent sent a message that my Palisades credit union account number had mistakenly been emailed to a member of the staff. I was told, as a result, the district will take the following actions: notify the credit union of the situation and have them reach out to change account numbers as needed, arrange a LifeLock coverage for 1 year. Please anticipate hearing from the credit union on LifeLock in the future. The email also stated to contact the assistant superintendent for business if I had any questions. Having never heard of this gentleman, my first thought was, is this a scam? So rather than respond to the email or contact the assistant superintendent for business, I sent a new email to the acting superintendent asking if the email was truly from her, and if it was true. Her simple response was, "Thanks for checking. Unfortunately, it did come from me and this error did occur." The response seemed insufficient and unapologetic. I couldn't understand how something like this could happen. I filled out the paperwork for my credit union person, and I delivered my paperwork in person to Hilbert. I did not do anything over the internet. I couldn't understand why a document contained my personal information with my account number. After reaching out to the assistant superintendent for business and asking these very questions, I was told names and account numbers from your credit union were being confirmed for direct deposit reasons. An accidental mouse click included one of our staff members that it should not have. The district will be facilitating account number changes if needed with the credit union, as well as purchasing LifeLock for 1 year for those involved. This information will no longer need to be emailed to the credit union. This is our SOP. We are changing this to a direct deposit transaction ASAP, which, by the way, is not true. It is not their SOP. In fact, the district had 1 year to move over to direct deposit for each employee, but they neglected to set it up. The district never did facilitate the changing of my account. The Palisades Federal Credit Union did not reach out to me. I called several times and spoke to several different people, only to learn that some of their employees knew nothing about this. Others knew very little. They were not given the names of those employees affected. They were simply informed that if a district employee called asking to change their account number, to please expedite the process. I have been a teacher in the district for over 28 years. I have never addressed the Board of Ed. In my career, I have never seen such blatant disregard for our privacy and security. Time and time again over the last few years, the district has failed to safeguard our personal information. In November 2020, the executive board of the Suffern Education Association brought this very issue to your attention. Obviously, it fell on deaf ears because no safeguards have been put into place to protect sensitive information. In my career, I've never felt as strongly as I do now. I feel like I've been violated. I am outraged that not even the most basic precautions have been put in place. It is criminally negligent that the district handles our information so carelessly. The canned response is, we apologize for the error, or we apologize for the inconvenience again. There are no adjustments, no consequences, just another whoop story. My colleagues and I will spend the next several years stressing over who has accessed our information and wondering exactly how much of our information was actually shared. The responses were so vague and with such limited information that I'm still left wondering what else was on that spreadsheet. What other spreadsheets are there? Did anyone gain access to more than just one account? Is my social security number safe? What about my address? And what about my other bank accounts? My dear friend and colleague is already dealing with the financial implications of this latest mishap. Her account has already been hacked while she was waiting for the call from the credit union that would never come. Again, misleading and untrue information from our administration. Had she known from day one that she had to call and change her account, perhaps her account would not have been broken into. But wait, we were given a 1 year subscription to LifeLock. Over a week later, and only the standard subscription, as if that doesn't cause insult to injury. Is this sufficient? I don't know. I guess only time will tell. For those employees who have already had their identity stolen, I am sorry. I am sorry you're going through this. I am sorry that not only did your employer not protect you, instead, they were the ones who disseminated your personal information. To the board members, I leave you with one final question to ponder. Who will protect the staff that serve and protect your children daily? That's it.
Okay, thank you very much for those that submitted, and thank you, Councilman, for reading those. We'll close this portion of the meeting and move to 7.01, closing comments. Acting Superintendent.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge a few things tonight. First, that's great news. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Cairns, about the robotics grant. Will be on our next agenda or soon, a soon agenda. I also want to recognize that there was an anonymous donation in tonight's agenda for multicultural events and education at Viola School. I'm very grateful. It's a very, very generous donation. Very grateful to the individuals who chose to make that donation. It will be put to good use. I want to recognize our students. Sophia mentioned Youth Art Month. It has been so much fun to follow Youth Art Month on social media. They're doing a great job highlighting our students' artwork. There's a different student featured each day. There's an alumni once a week that's featured. It is so much fun to see just the variety and incredible talent of our young artists. So that's been a bright spot for me this month. Check it out, it's worth it. I also want to mention it's Music in Our Schools Month, and Ms. Mermelstein, who was previously recognized for putting together a terrific video on our facilities and food service folks, is also putting little mini videos together of our music teachers in celebration of Music in Our Schools Month. Those are featured on our district website and our district social media channels. So that's also been a pleasure. Finally, winter sports have wrapped up. Congratulations to the hockey team who earned the Rockland County Championship. Congratulations to the boys basketball team who were runner-up in the county in a little bit of a heartbreaker. I didn't know your heart could break a little like that on live stream, but apparently it can. So congratulations to the wrestling team, who I want to mention had a successful season and a COVID-free season. So congrats to them for following through. Our fall 2 sports are starting. That's football. First game is Friday. That'll be available on live stream unless you're a parent. And the boys and girls volleyball. Boys volleyball has already had a match. I think girls are still in quarantine, so they'll be getting back at it once they're out. Swim. Girls swim is also a fall 2 sport. So we're looking forward to those. Fall 2 sports are run for about another month, and then we'll transition to our traditional spring sports for the closing of the school year. So good luck to our athletes. Make good choices, please. You want to have a season? We want you to have a season. A lot of people went through a lot of efforts to make sure you have a season. Your parents want to see you play. Make good choices. And that's it for this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Congrats to all the sports teams in the district that did so well under such difficult conditions. That is a wrap. So, quick note before we adjourn. Our next board meeting will not be for 3 weeks. 6 weeks.
It's 3 because there's a break in there.
So April 6th will be our next board meeting. So everybody, enjoy the holidays that are coming up, enjoy breaks, enjoy some time off, enjoy what hopefully becomes some nicer weather. And on that note, I would make a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Let me ready here. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. McKenzie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, everybody, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy your holidays.
Good night.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.